Yeah, that happened. I accidentally deleted the first 7 minutes of this video. One misclick. One misclick. And it's gone. There's no way to retrieve the footage. It's actually gone. And I was so proud of it too. I put so many hours into it. And now it's gone. Do you know how much that hurts? When you've been working on something for weeks and you want to show it off because you're so proud of it, and then you delete the footage. I'm actually such an idiot. I'm actually such an idiot. And that's not all. This is actually the second time I'm re-recording the intro, because the first time I forgot to plug in my microphone. I don't know if I should laugh or cry. Anyway, I guess it's time for the intro again, so let's just get into position. That seems about right. Third person, check. And here we go again. Yo guys, Dryan here, and in the previous video we upgraded our villager trading hall. We built a new one underground underneath the old one, which, as you know, is located over there. There's an island there. That's where it's on. So now that there's no use anymore for the old trading hall, it's time to remove it and build something in its place. So today we will be building a monastery. And because of our little situation here, I already built the entire thing and it looks so cool and I'm so proud of it. I can assure you it looks absolutely amazing. So let's do this. So the first thing we're gonna do... Oh, hello, Foxy. Oh, you have a new name? Oh, yeah, look at that. I agree. You guys should listen to this fox. He's a very wise fox. Ugh, I'm so funny. So one of the things that I did in the first 7 minutes of this video that I now lost is I cleaned up the island. So right over there, you can see that's the island right there. So I removed the old trading hall, I removed the carrot field, I removed the... what else was there? There was like a sugarcane farm there, a melon farm. That's all gone. I also terraformed the entire island because there were like caves coming through the surface and just ruining the terrain. Enderman had removed some blocks and placed them down somewhere else, and it was just very ugly. So I terraformed the entire island and now it's nice and smooth. And ooh, you can actually see my build over there. That's some spoilers right there. That's just to keep you guys interested. Don't you click away from this video. I need these watch hours. And I actually made a really cool transition there. So I showed like a screenshot of the island before I cleaned it up. And then it faded into the clean terraformed island. And it was so cool. But I deleted it. I can't show it because I don't have it anymore. I'm never gonna forgive myself for this. And after landscaping, I also explained my plans for this video. But I can't do that right now because there's already a build there. But don't worry, I explained everything a second time after building my floor plan. I do still have that footage. So, I think it's time to jump back to past me when I was still full of energy for this video, when I was showing you the design for this build in a creative world. So, I made like a few buildings in my creative world just to test out the style and the design I wanted to go with. And after that we'll jump back into our survival world where I can show you my floor plan and I will also explain to you the ideas for today's video. But please do keep in mind that I lost a pretty big amount of footage for this video and there might be some weird editing cuts throughout. That's just me removing the parts that otherwise wouldn't have made any sense for you. Again, I'm very, very sorry about that, but I'm trying my best to revive this video. But that's easier said than done, and I hope you understand. Anyways, let's go into my creative world and continue with this video. So this right here is the design I have come up with. And I think this is perfect for a monastery. So as you can see, we got sandstone walls. These are all smooth sandstone. We got some cut sandstone details, and the windows are also rounded out by these stairs and made a little bit smaller by the birch trapdoors. And then we got these pillars on the side. These are of course there to support the build, but also because they just look nice. They help deal with the flatness of the walls. And then here at the bottom of the build we have some polished granite. This is going to be the foundation of this built. And then above that we have this giant brick roof. This is why I needed so many bricks. And this is where I needed all of this acacia for. So because we just got some nice little details underneath the overhang and also some hanging acacia fences on the edge of the roof. I might actually hang some lanterns from these. I don't know yet, we'll see. And then we have these nice little windows coming out of the edge of the roof. And I think this is a really nice design. These kind of things are very hard to build. And then at the very top of the roof, we just have a nice little pattern. And here I use some anvils and iron bars to fill up the spaces in between the pattern. And I think it looks really cool. I also used that little trick over here, over at my palace. If you just quickly fly over all of these castles, there are videos about them. You should check them out. Again, there is a full tour of this palace on my channel. I'll make sure to put a card in the upper right hand corner. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for this one. I guess I didn't use the anvil here. Aha, there we go. So as you can see, these were the roof patterns I was considering for this build. In the end, I went with a mix of that and that one. I also used the anvil here to create a very nice rooftop pattern. So this is roughly what it's going to look like, and then to the side you can see that I've also built a diagonal one. So this is a lower part of the build, so these are just going to be walkways. And then in these bigger buildings with 2 or more floors, that's where the dormitory is going to go, as well as the dining hall and the kitchens. And of course we also need to build a chapel somewhere as well. Anyways, this is the design. I am ready to start building this in survival. Alright, we're back in our survival world and I have prepared the floor plan for this build. I do want to warn you though, it is very messy. The terrain isn't flat, so yeah, it's best if we view it from in the air. So this is the floor plan for our build. It's going to consist out of 4 buildings, 4 main buildings, and then we're going to have 1 courtyard in the very middle. In the courtyard we're going to have a covered well. So right here you can see I've planned out with some white concrete. This is going to be the well, and inside this area there's going to be a wooden roof protecting you from the rain. And then in between the gray areas, these are the outlines for the pathways. So in this garden we're going to have pathways going into all of the buildings, and this pathway actually extends through this building right here, this very weirdly shaped building, and this is going to be the front door. Now it does look a little bit weird, but that was because the island was so weirdly shaped. It was so difficult to create a floor plan for this. I actually had to take down my entire floor plan like 5 times already. I wish I had taken screenshots of them so I could give you like a little compilation of all of my attempts. But yeah, in the end, this is what I came up with. It's not perfect, of course. I don't know if this is going to look very weird or if it's going to be alright. I hope it's going to be alright. But I don't know. Fingers crossed. So I should probably explain a few more things. One of these being the color coding. So normally I have lots of colors in my creative builds. I use red, yellow, orange, blue, purple, and they all have their own meaning. But in my survival world I had these 3 colors laying around and I just didn't want to make any unnecessary concrete. So these colors are what I'm working with. The red concrete is supposed to be the outline for the walls, and then the white concrete is for the windows, or just little extras like this one over here, and also the well in the middle. And then gray is of course just the pathways. So let's talk about the different rooms in this monastery. So we have 2 different rooms on either side of this walkway. Now this is all one very awkwardly shaped building, and it's all going to connect up at the 2nd floor, but on the 1st floor it's divided by this walkway. This one right here is going to be the infirmary, the balneary, and the laundry room. This is where the monks will go to wash themselves, to get taken care of if they're sick, and do the laundry. And on the other side we have the brewery, because of course we are going to have lots and lots of sweet berries on this hill right here. And monks like to drink wine, and this is the place where they do it. And then on the outside of the buildings we have a little firewood shack right here. This one right here is going to be a covered porch. This is just for the monks to sit on a bench and take in the view because it is absolutely beautiful. Oh, and also on the very front of the building we're also gonna have a small wooden roof just to protect yourself from the rain when you're entering the building. And then, as I said, these two rooms will link up on the second floor. And on the second floor and the attic, we're gonna have the dormitory. That is the place where the monks are sleeping. Excuse me, I'm trying to record a video. And then if we continue on this walkway, we enter the courtyard. This is just going to be a place for the monks to just sit outside, listen to the birds, and just chill. That's a weird explanation of what monks do, but yeah, it's just a place for them to sit and read. So right in the middle we're gonna have a well. I mean, where else would you get any water, am I right? And then in between these areas we're gonna have some benches, we're gonna have some trees, we're gonna have some bushes. It's all going to look lovely. Now this building right here, this is going to be the refectory and the kitchen. So this is a place where the monks can sit down and eat together. So this area right here is going to be the kitchen. This is also where the door leads into. And then there will be another door over here leading into the kitchen. Did I just call that room a kitchen too? No, this is the refectory. This room is a refectory. This room is the kitchen. And then at the opposite side of the building, this is going to be the library and scriptorium. So the library, I think everyone knows what a library is, just a bunch of books. And of course we're in a monastery, so all of these books are written in Latin. And then in the scriptorium, they actually translate these books. So we're gonna have one entire room dedicated to the scriptorium. Basically, it's just a room with a bunch of lecterns. So each monk has their own little work spot or workplace, and each workspace has 2 lecterns. So there's one lectern with the book that they are trying to copy or translate, and then on the other lectern, that's where they are writing themselves. And then there's one more room at the very end of the building. So this room is going to be the chapel or the church, and it's also going to have stairs going down into the solitary confinement cells. So basically monks that have been misbehaving, they get locked up in there, so they have no light. They have no books, they can't do anything apart from pray, I guess. And then this little area on the front here, this is just an extended area where there are tons of windows to let in as much light as possible. And this is just going to be where the altar is at. Oh, and of course, one last thing, which is over here, this is going to be the outhouse. They need somewhere to do their business. And that's basically it. I think I have everything in this building that a monastery has. It's time. Are you serious, Minecraft? Oh, come on. So I'm gonna wait for the rain to clear up, and it is now time to start building. I'm currently looking for my granite. Where have I put my granite? Have I just not... Did I just completely forget my granite? Turns out I did forget it. Let's just quickly get home and get ourselves some more. Alright, so I have my granite, and the first thing I'm gonna do is to replace all of this red concrete with the granite. So this is going to be the foundation of the build. I already showed you that in the creative world. And there we go. That is our first block of this entire build. So I already have a little problem right here, and that is the elevation. You see, there are 3 or 4 different elevation levels in this build, so that is why I'm choosing to put the entire build on wild level 66. So I'm definitely gonna have to raise the floor here a bit, and then we're gonna have to do some terraforming along the sides to just bring up the landscape to get to this level. But I think it's going to be worth it. I think it's gonna look really cool. So we're just gonna have to go around and build the entire outline of this building. Okay, this area has become even messier, but at least our framework is now in one Y level. So now we can finally start building up the walls, and for that I'm gonna need a whole bunch of sandstone. And of course I left them back at my base. Apparently I have everything I needed, apart from literally everything I actually need. That didn't make any sense. So basically I have all of these little details for the cobblestone, for the cliffs. We got all of these bricks for the roof. And then nothing. I just completely forgot about the walls. Alright, now that we have our base in place, now it's time to start building up the walls. And I've been smelting lots of sandstone for this. So yeah, what comes now is the difficult task of getting in all of the walls, and with that I will also be determining the height of all of these buildings, because if they're all the same height that would be boring, but it would also look stupid if there's only like one small building in the middle of multiple big 3-story buildings. And it is done. Just kidding, I only did the front. But it is looking fantastic so far. I can already envision this place is gonna look so cool when it's done. And as you can see, I have finally decided on the height of my buildings. So I've decided that this front building over here is going to be 3 stories tall. So you can see I've built up the walls on one side. This is just to give you an idea of how big the build is going to be. But then these 2 small buildings on either side of the courtyard, the refectory and kitchen, and over there we have the library and scriptorium. These are only going to be 2 stories tall. The first story is of course the main floor, and the second one is the attic. I don't think I'm gonna have an attic over here in the kitchen. I think it's just going to be a big room, but in the library a second story will definitely come in handy. And then this part over here, which is the church part, this is of course also going to be 3 stories tall. And then that tower at the very end, which is just a tower with lots and lots of windows to let in as much light as possible. This one is also going to be at least 2 stories tall. And yes, I know that the building is currently floating in the air, but after we're done with building, we can start and terraform this area. We just want to build up the ground, build a nice cliff face going into the base of the building, and just make the build look like it's supported by the earth. So I'm gonna continue working on the walls, and once that's done, then we can start building the roof. I think that's going to be the next part of this build. And there we go. This has turned out absolutely amazing. This has turned out so much better than I thought it would. And I love it. The front is a little bit of an awkward shape, but I think it's alright. I can work with that. So we got 4 main buildings and an extension over here. This is the church part. So you can see we have this weirdly kind of shaped roof. This is where the ceremonies are held, and of course from the inside we're gonna have a beautifully decorated ceiling here like they do in real life. I'm not sure about churches, but definitely the chapels and monasteries and such, because they see this as the house of God. They want this to be as beautifully decorated as possible. So the floor is going to be a really cool pattern. We're gonna have paintings up in the ceiling. So now that the roofs are done, now it's time to actually, well, what are we gonna do? So we still have a few things left to do. We're gonna have to do the interior of this build. We're also gonna have to do the landscaping over here to connect the ground up to the building. And we're also gonna have to terraform this little hill into their berry farm and their crop farms. And I think what I want to do first is just to connect up the land into the building. I don't think I want to do the interiors when the building is still floating and we don't even have any floors yet. And I think the outside is for the last step of this build. That certainly looks a lot better. So I've now built a cliff face going all around the building. Look at that. The terraforming on top is looking a little bit plain right now, but that's normal. We don't have anything bone mealed up there yet. We don't have any bushes in yet. That will all come later. But for now, we have terraformed and joined up this floating build with the water. And I think it looks pretty good until you kind of take a closer look and you realize that it doesn't actually join up at the bottom of the ocean. You can kind of just swim through and come outside on the bottom of the build. Let's just quickly move on to the interior. Alrighty, this build now has a full interior, and I guess it's time for me to show you. Also, I turned out the render distance to reduce lag, because this place has somehow turned even laggier. But we're inside the building anyways for the showcase of the interior, so we don't really need a good view. So let's enter from this main entrance right here, and we just enter through this little hallway here. And if we turn to the right, this is the brewery. So this is where the monks would prepare their wine. So they would go inside and pick their berries. We still need to plant our berry bushes. So they would pick the berries and then drop them all into this tub, and they would literally jump on the grapes, or the berries in our case, to crush them, and they would collect the juices, and that's what is going to be stored in these barrels. So we got some barrels over here, we got some up there. We also have these slightly bigger barrels over here. We got 2 of them, and then we have 2 giant barrels. One's hanging from the wall here, and another one we can access by going upstairs. So you can see this is one ginormous barrel, and this is the biggest storage container for their wine. So as you can see, we got a hatch here where the monks can see how full this container is. And then we got these copper pipelines going around. They connect up to these 2 things over here. I don't actually know what they're supposed to be. Maybe it's another way to check the fullness of the containers. And then we got yet another container up there on the wall. And as you can see, it's also filled. And there's actually another hatch up there, even though you can't really access it from anywhere. Little details are always welcome, I guess. Also, I've never actually seen this place from up here before. This looks pretty cool. And I also have a little checklist here on the wall. So first they would be picking the berries, then they crush the berries, and then they pour the juice in barrels, which is what I already explained. So if we come back to this hallway and turn to our left, this room right here is the infirmary, the balneary, and the laundry room. So as you can see, we got these little tubs here full of water. This is where the people can wash themselves. We got some chests here to put in their clothing. And we also got these banners hanging on the wall here. These are supposed to be the robes of the monks. So they would just be drying here because they were wet from getting washed, I guess. And then if we go upstairs over here, there's a little staircase. This gives access to the infirmary. These are some beds for the sick. Oh my goodness, don't... Okay. I did not light this place up very well. It's not the first time a creeper has exploded here. Anyways, we got these beds here. We got some chests again for their clothes, I guess, and other possessions. And we just got some bookshelves because, of course, they need something to do in here because it's otherwise pretty boring. And then if we continue up the staircase, now I do need to be careful for more creepers. Let's just run in this direction and check behind her. Oh. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're totally good. Whew, my heart rate. So yeah, if we continue up the staircase, this right here gives access to the dormitory. So you got these little colored carpets on the ground. These are supposed to resemble their sleeping bags or mats more. They just kind of... I don't know how to explain it. Most monks avoid luxury, so instead of a real bed, they just sleep on the ground with these little things to cover them. And that's what I tried to build here. Of course, the only thing in Minecraft we have to kind of resemble it is just some carpet. So that was the dormitory. I think I'm now gonna jump out of the window to get to sleep as fast as possible. Oh gosh, how did you spawn here? You're not supposed to be here. Oh please, how do you... Where did you get a stair from? No, actually, how did you get a stair? Huh? I'm so confused. They can't pick up blocks. Did a creeper explode or something? I'm so confused. Anyways, right now we are in the refectory and I'm actually quickly gonna check the kitchen for any mobs. Nope, we're good. Okay, no heart attacks yet. So, this right here is a refectory. This is basically where the monks come together to eat on set hours of the day. So everyone has their own plate. We got some cups with wine or water. And then at the very front here, we got a lectern. So the main inspiration for this build for me was the game Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's a medieval RPG, and in the town of Sessau, they also have a monastery where the monks live by the rule of Saint Benedict. And in that monastery, I don't know if it's with every monastery in the world, but at least in that one, there was always someone standing in front of the others when eating, reading the rule of Saint Benedict. So I thought it would be cool to put it here in Minecraft too. So we got the lectern up front, we got 2 long tables where the monks can eat, and this right here is the kitchen. So we got some storage containers up on the walls, we got some storage containers in the corner over here, and then we got one long table for preparing the food. You can see that they've definitely spilled some, whatever this is, maybe some sugar, maybe milk or something. And then this right here is where they would cook their food in these smokers. They would also cut some cakes, I guess, over here. And then this is where they would get their water. They got a trash bin over here. I don't think I've actually shown you the courtyard yet. So this right here is the courtyard. This is a place in between all of the buildings. And it's just an enclosed area for the monks where they can sit down and just take in the air or read a book or something. So we have tons of benches around. We have rose bushes. We have normal bushes all around this courtyard. And then we also have these stone pathways connecting up all of the 4 buildings. And these are covered walkways. So you can see we got a wooden roof. And I think this is really cool. I really like this. So we got like this little circle in the middle where all of these meet. And there's a well in the middle. And if we can actually jump down the well, and something I always do is just decorate this, because why not? So usually what I do is I basically just blow up 2 pieces of TNT, and that usually does the great job of creating this little hole. After that I turn all of the walls into stone, and I give it a little bit more texture with the cobblestone. And then just some bone mealing and actually placing a cauldron in the middle with a chain going up. And there you go, you got yourself an actual well. So I've now covered the courtyard, I've covered this entire building over here, I've covered the building on the left. Let's now turn to the right. This right here is a library. So we just got tons of books around. You can see bookcases everywhere. We even got letters on the sides to actually help yourself get to these upper bookshelves. I've used the loom blocks to create the illusion that there are some empty bookshelves, which I think looks really cool. We got a table here in the middle, and then on either side of the room we got a ladder going up into the attic, and this right here is the scriptorium. This is where the monks transcribe their books from Latin into a different language maybe, or they just copy books in general. So we got lecterns here, we got books on them, and we got these spots here for their ink. And from up here you can actually overlook the library, which I thought was really cool. And then on the other side of the building we just have the same thing. And now let's enter the final building, which is also the most dangerous of all, because this one has not been lit up very well. And it seems like we got a creeper over there. Okay. Whoops, I forgot to take care of the scaffolding. And this building is probably my favorite part of this monastery. I just think it looks so cool. So we got a really nice floor pattern here using the glazed terracotta, some copper and lapis lazuli. So we got the altar over here. You can see that it uses tons of gold. And there is also still scaffolding up there. So this is where the priest or the senior monk would stand and preach in front of everyone. And I just absolutely love this design. And also, in case you haven't noticed, these walls are actually so much more detailed in comparison to the rest of the build. These walls are filled with like little pattern and designs. And I just thought, I just wanted to point it out because I think it looks so cool. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with this build. And now there's only one more thing left to do, which is to tackle the outside. We still haven't built any of the berry farms yet. We still haven't built any of the crop farms yet. And it's time we finally do that. So what I want to do is I want to build a berry farm over here on top of this hill. And then over there we're going to build a crop farm. So we're just going to have some wheat, we're going to have some carrots, maybe some potatoes. And then we have some pathways connecting everything together. And maybe I also want some bees over here. So yeah, I might put some beehives over here. And then I also want another pathway coming around the build over here. And it's very laggy. I turned the render distance up again. And then the pathway is going to continue around the edge of the build. They gotta be careful not to fall into the water here. But I also built this outhouse over here. Basically is their toilet. Alright. They need somewhere to do their business, and this is the place where they do it. Is that a creeper? Oh my goodness, that is a creeper. Okay, let's just continue around the building. Right now this looks a little bit empty, but I will be going through all of this with bone meal, and I will also plant lots of leaves to create some bushes. And then if we continue over here, this right here is a firewood shack. And this is where I realize I haven't built any fireplaces in this entire build, yet I do have a firewood shack. You know, let's just not question my realism of my builds too much. Anyways, I think it's time for me to start building. So let's jump into a little building montage where I finish up this entire outside area and going all the way around with plant life. So let's jump into the building montage, and I'll see you again when this entire build is finally finished. And there we go. This is looking fantastic. I am so incredibly happy with how this project turned out. So yeah, I've just made tons of these little berry farms. So you got tons of sweet berries all around. Then over here we got the beehives. There aren't actually any bees in them though. I don't know how to attract them. And yeah, we just got these pathways. You can see I've got a stone pathway over here. And this leads into the farms. I've used a mixture of wheat and beetroot, which I think looks really cool. And then I also just have some generic carrot and potato farms. And then in between the berry farms, we have some just dirt pathways. And then the stone pathway extends around the side of the building. It goes around the building, all the way around the walls. And you need to be very careful not to fall into the water here. Then if you turn right, this is the outhouse. It's a beautiful place for an outhouse, actually. You have a gorgeous view, you're inside of really beautiful scenery. I like it. And it also looks really good from afar. Like, we have successfully transformed this entire island, and I love it. It looks so good. And then there's actually one more thing I forgot to mention in the previous clip. And that is that I actually made a basement. So if we come around here, be careful with the creepers. Let's hope there's no one in here. Okay, so we got a hatch here in the kitchen. We got a trapdoor leading down into the basement. Look at that. This looks magical. So yeah, I just needed a place for the portal, and I decided this is the perfect place to put it. It's underneath the kitchen. You can kind of see these as like storage. But yeah, this basement looks so cool, and it might actually be one of my favorite parts of this build, because this view right here, it's amazing. But I'm afraid this is the end of this video. This project has turned out so much better than I expected. This looks so cool. Can you believe that this island just a few weeks ago was just a trading hall inside of a giant carrot field? I think we can call this a very, very successful transformation. So that is the end. Whoops. So that is the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed, because this was actually one of the most work I've ever put into one video. This project has actually probably taken me more than transforming my entire end island. It's actually insane the amount of hours I put into this. Anyways, this was it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you hopefully in the next video. Goodbye.